The truth has finally leaked. Following Roman Anthony's contract extension, we now have heard from Sam Kennedy as well as Craig Breslow, giving us a good idea of what it looked like behind closed doors during this process. We'll break down all of the comments and quotes and new information that we have, as well as new information regarding his contract specifically and how it breaks down over the next few years. We'll break down all of that on this episode of Red Sox Digest, but first, please do remember, scroll down, click the subscribe button to stay up to date with everything Boston Red Sox, as nearly 90% of you guys watching this video are not currently subscribed to the channel. Now, we do appreciate the love and support, so thank you guys, but now let's get to it and break down the truth behind Roman's contract, as we are starting to learn more and more information in different ways about this contract, whether it's from Craig Breslow, Alex Cora, Chris Colito, or Alex Spear. It doesn't really matter. We're learning a lot in the last few days. So we're first going to start with the fact that Roman Anthony, Sam Kennedy, and Craig Breslow all went on a press conference talking about the contract extension, where Roman was extremely humble and extremely gracious and thankful that he was able to be playing for the city of Boston and play for the Boston Red Sox, to the point where he is now being extended for the next 8 years with this organization. He claims that he could not be more excited to be in Boston itself. And then Sam Kennedy, Craig Breslow are both ecstatic to say they have obviously Roman in this organization. But we've got a few really, really good quotes that we're first going to break down from Craig Breslow specifically. And the reason this quote is so significant is because the trade deadline just expired, a week ago, 10 days ago, and it was very, very underwhelming for this Boston Red Sox organization, because all of Red Sox Nation and a lot of the notable analysts that cover the game of baseball on a professional level all assume and predict the Red Sox to be a formidable and respectable team once October arrives. And the reason being is because of how the roster is constructed up to this point. But there were question marks. You needed a first baseman. You needed a consistent right-handed bat for this lineup. And you needed pitching, whether it was starting, whether it was coming out of the bullpen, closers, relief guys, middle of the innings. It did not matter. They needed arms, and we knew they didn't want rentals. Nothing happened in productivity for the Red Sox. Yes, they got Steven Matz. Yes, they got Dustin May, but no household names that are really going to push the needle for this Red Sox team. So in question to why the timing of this was immediately following a very disappointing trade deadline, Craig Breslow had this to say. The beauty of the trade deadline is that it is a true, rigid deadline. And once it passes, we can comfortably shift our priorities to other things. The balance that we needed to strike was trying to aggressively extend Rome and recognize how important he is to our 2025 team and also our future, with not presenting or creating a distraction when this team is playing so well. Now, I do respect that answer from Craig Breslow for a few reasons. One, not trying to create a distraction amongst Roman specifically or the team as a whole is a good thing. We know what happens when big-name players, star-studded players, get involved in drama behind closed doors. We just witnessed it. Something that Craig Breslow had to answer to when he was asked about this move and whether or not this contract extension had anything to do with Rafael Devers getting traded. Now, it's a bit odd to think of it that way, but again, it was asked. And the way it was questioned, I cannot perfectly paraphrase because of how low the audio is on the actual question side of things, but we know what Breslow said. He was very blunt. He didn't really seem like he wanted to talk a whole lot about Rafael Devers, but he said that it felt like it would be most appropriate if he was moved. They ended up making the move, and that was it. This is one entity that is a totally separate entity, and they do not relate in any capacity. And I will say Sam Kennedy did not look all that happy or pleased that Rafael Devers was brought up in this scenario. It was a bit odd. Again, if you guys would like to watch this in its entirety rather than just the major bullet points I'm covering, it'll be tagged down in the description. If you go to Nesson on YouTube, it comes up. If you type in Roman Anthony Nesson, it'll come up immediately. But again, tag down in the description if you'd like to watch the entirety of it. Tyler Milliken, credit to you for reciting you in the last two tweets here. Craig Breslow on the unusual timing of the extension. Quote, it was the responsible decision in my view. And Breslow was kind of smirking and laughing just a bit when he did say that. And he had to make this decision. He had to go out there and he had to take care of Roman. Were there question marks about it beforehand in spring? Yes, which wasn't getting a lot of traction because it was very incognito. It was very quiet. There wasn't a lot of conversations since spring, at least publicly, that were catching anyone's eye, that made anyone feel like there should be some pressure on Breslow to get this done so Roman doesn't just force his way out of Boston. Roman, in Roman's side of things, weren't extremely vocal about being upset, disappointed, or just anxious about getting something done. But it seems like Breslow, the second the trade deadline had expired, immediately knew, all right, we can't make any more transactions between team to team. We can't do it. We missed our opportunity. We went out there and we acquired Dustin May. We went out there and acquired Steven Matz. That's all we got for now. What we have left is who's on this roster right now, and who's on this roster who we want to see on this roster for a very, very long time. And Roman Anthony was the answer to that question. Now we're going to cite this article from Alex Spears to mention something that happened earlier this season, back in spring, and how we're very fortunate that this didn't blow up into something. It's something we just got done talking about, how the Red Sox negotiated a stunning extension with Roman Anthony and his agents. Quote, "Why wouldn't I want to do this?" Now, Alex Spear was sitting in the broadcast booth with Lou and others during the actual broadcast of last night's loss to the Kansas City Royals down in Fenway Park. Now, Alex Spear had a bunch of good talking points covering this Roman Anthony extension, and he went on to mention how Craig Breslow, Sam Kennedy, the rest of this organization, the front office, if you will, approached Roman. And they tried on 3 different occasions during spring, going up to this point in the season, leading up to this point in the season, to where they could finally get it done. And that is a contract extension with Roman Anthony. And this is the exact quote from Alex Spears. "There had been a considerable gap in talks between the sides in spring training. Though the distance had narrowed over 3 offers by the Red Sox, the conversations had never gotten close enough to a deal to produce true back and forth about a framework." And again, that is from this article written by Alex Spears. Again, I will tag it down below if you'd like to read it in its entirety. But this is huge. It seemed like they had this conversation 3 other times before, but every time Roman was approached by the Red Sox, and specifically Craig Breslow, it simply was not going to get the job done. And I will tip my cap to Breslow once again. We did it earlier when we first broke down this contract extension that was presented to Roman, but he went out there and he signed Crochet. Crochet is now outperforming that contract by exponential numbers. Roman is hitting 330 over the last month and some change. He's 21 years of age, I should say, and he was had just under 1,000 OPS like a week ago. I'm not sure what it exactly is right now on August 8th or August 7th, but there's a really good 2-month amount of reps where we know what we're seeing from Roman Anthony. The eye is next level. The underlying metrics are overwhelming, I should say. And 8 years, $130 million contract with a club option up until 2034 is major. Now let's break down the escalators, the significant escalators that Jeff Passan went on to mention in that second tweet that we never really got a good breakdown of since that Passan tweet came out yesterday, originally breaking the news of that Roman Anthony contract extension. As Chris Colito would go on to then say, Roman Anthony's deal is super complicated, but he gets an additional $2 million added to his 2032 or 2033 salaries if he's an MVP before then, plus $1 million if he wins Rookie of the Year this season. He'd also get an increase in his 2031 salary if he wins Rookie of the Year. And then he goes on to say, slight correction, $1 million if he's first or second in Rookie of the Year this season. So again, he doesn't have to win Rookie of the Year this year, but if he comes in first or second place, he would then qualify for that $1 million bonus. And it doesn't end there, as it just continues to get more complicated. Again, from Chris Colito yesterday, thank God he went out there and tweeted this, because it's probably the cleanest format we'll get to see it in for a long time before someone actually tries to break it down in its entirety in a video format. But Roman Anthony's escalators are so complicated, you might need a PDF. Escalators to 2032 and 2033 seasons, and also to 2031 if he is a Rookie of the Year first or second in 2025, for each award earned beginning in 2025. So This year, he's allowed. This is when he becomes eligible to win any of these awards if it does take place, or if he qualifies in any of these MVP or a Rookie of the Year or any of these award races. He will then be granted this money. So a breakdown: $1 million if he earns first or second in Rookie of the Year this year, $2 million for each MVP first in any previous year, $1 million for each MVP second or third in any previous year, $750,000 for coming in fourth or fifth in MVP, $500,000 from sixth to 10th, and then $200,000 for an All-Star election or selection in any previous year. So basically coming down to where he ends up in these award races when the award races come to a close. If he finds himself ranked anywhere in the top 10, he will end up making some form of money off of that in the form of bonus based off of this contract breakdown from Chris Colito, as well as, again, Rookie of the Year, MVP, and then All-Star ballots also count towards this. And Chris goes on to say same escalators in 2034 option year, salary except in $2 million instead of $1 million for the 2025 Rookie of the Year, first or second escalator. So again, a lot of moving parts involving Roman Anthony's contract. Even though it seems like a lot, it is well worth it for this young man. Only 21 years of age, and he's going to be in Boston for the next 8.5 seasons. This is exactly what Red Sox Nation needed, and it's going to be a great thing later down the line when we look back and Roman is overplaying and just playing out of his mind in comparison to what he's getting paid. Once that team option comes up, I wouldn't be surprised if he was then extended once again with a larger contract. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys on the next one.